to know us and our mannerisms, because we're all slightly different. All right, so we have Trua and Makaio in here. Our largest killer whale right next to our smallest killer whale. Trua's 15 years old. Makaio is going to be turning 11 in October, just coming up. So you're going to see a little bit of the size difference between them. Trua's weighing in right around 6,600 pounds. Now that sounds like a lot. The reality is that he can probably double in weight. He might get up to around 10,000, potentially up to 12,000 pounds when he's full grown. So he still has a lot more growing to do. And of course, little Makaio that's right next to him is also going to have a lot of growing to do. Now as they come up, I want you guys to look at their dorsal fins. So we can see Makaio's, who's towards the center of the pool area. Okay, so they're coming to the center of the pool. So what we're using right now is we're using our tone system. So this tone system, what Callie has in her hand, is a great way that we are able to help communicate with the whales. So she just pressed a tone that asked them to do a poop wave. So kind of waving hi to all of you guys. And then when we press a one tone, that one tone asks them to come back to our stage area with the trainers. So you can see Makaio's coming over, Trua's coming over. That's exactly what we're looking for. So we can reinforce that behavior, give them a lot of attention, and then we can decide as trainers, what do we think that's going to be great to move on next? Awesome. Now the killer whales here at SeaWorld, we've done a lot of research to be able to help out their counterparts out in the wild. So it's a really important part that what we do here is able to benefit wild populations and our understanding of these animals. So for example, we have Katina. Katina is our matriarch, she's the leader of our pod here at SeaWorld Orlando. Because of Katina, because of SeaWorld, we've been able to learn and share with scientists and researchers what that gestation or that pregnancy of the killer whale is. You see, before SeaWorld was around, scientists and researchers really only thought that their gestation was about 12 months. That's about the same time as a bottlenose dolphin. But because of Katina, because of SeaWorld, we were able to learn that it's much longer. It's actually 17 months. We're able to learn about how mom and calf the behavior develop together. It's very different than we'd be able to see out in the wild environments. So wild scientists and wild researchers like to come to work with us to be able to see what does a healthy killer whale look like? What is the size? What amount of mass should they have on their body? And then they take that information and share it with what they're seeing out in the wild with different government agencies to be able to better conserve the population of animals that they would hunt, to be able to make sure that they're getting the correct amount of mass that they need to their body, and that we can protect those different animals. So a lot of these animals here, we call them ambassadors for their wild counterparts for a good reason, because they've all contributed a little bit differently to what we know about killer whales around the world. Now a little bit about Makaio. He is one of our most playful killer whales. And so what I mean by that is that oftentimes he'll come up with games to play with us. Now Trua is very similar with this as well. But Makaio being kind of that youngster, you think about it like puppies, think about the kids, how they're very playful, and how they interact with you and how they kind of just interact with their environment. We see that also with the killer whales. So there's a lot of times that we come up with different types of toys, we come up with different types of games. And sometimes we spend a lot of time really working to develop this toy, putting things together. For you guys on the far side, if you look straight back, you might see that there are some really large plastic toys back there. We're able to actually put those together kind of like Legos using gelatin and freezing it overnight. And the killer whales get to work together to break it apart. Oh, great job, Makaio. So that's a great way that we're able to learn kind of the things that they like, and they show us. Sometimes it takes them a long time to work to problem solve as a group. You can see that Leah just tossed in a lid. So she's using that lid as something that he knows that he plays with a lot, that she can use to help reinforce it and say, that's exactly what I was looking for. Alright, so Makaio's going to do what we call a kicker behavior. So this is a big jump over here, right where we're tapped. Get your cameras up in 3, 2, and 1. Great job, Makaio. Now part of what we're looking for is to kind of get that heart rate up. So this is part of an exercise session. Throughout our day, we have several different types of sessions and interactions that we can have with them. And we want to make sure, just like you and I, when we're going to the gym, we're having them jump high, we're having them swim fast, kind of the same things that you would do at your home gym, walking around, things like that, to make sure they stay nice and healthy. One of my favorite interactions that we get to do is called our relate section. So what we would do there is that we would ask the killer whales just to hang out with us. You know, so a lot of times people talk about, when they think about our interactions, they automatically think about Orca encounter or some of the bigger presentations that we have for you guys. But for trainers, the reality is that we really enjoy those smaller interactions when we get to spend time getting to know the whales and just hanging out with them. That's where we learn a lot more about how they learn, like I said, those likes that they really have, because they're all very unique to each individual whale. Makaio is one that, when we're rubbing him down, he'll actually solicit different parts of his body for us to rub down. It's kind of like, how many of you guys like to have your back rubbed? Or your feet rubbed? Yes, right? You know certain parts, you're like, no, this spot over here. Makaio does that as well. He'll throw up his peduncle, or that big muscle back past the dorsal fin, and he'll ask us just to kind of get in there and give him that deep tissue massage. So he's doing another behavior right in front of you. Awesome. Now, one of the most critical behaviors that we do here is going to be their health or their husbandry behaviors. So once again, it kind of falls in line with the exercise behaviors that we were talking about, those exercise sessions of getting that heart rate up, staying nice and healthy. But we need to make sure that we're checking in on them, right? And so just like you might go to the doctor once a year to get your annual physical, or maybe you're taking your dog or cat, maybe even you have a horse or something like that, the vets come out to check out on those animals. Our killer whales get 12 physicals a year. So every single month, we're going to go ahead and give them a full panel, full physical. That can go anywhere from x-rays, it can go to blow cultures. So if you think back to your microbiology, you have that and you have the blow plates or the Petri dish plates. We'll actually just hold that right above their blowhole and we'll ask them to exhale. Now that exhale, we'll be able to look at anything that's going on inside of their lungs. So we're really lucky here at SeaWorld that we have our own lab right here on site. So when our vets come, they literally drive down our